إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستغفره ونستعينه ونستهديه ونشكره ونتوب إليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولا مثيل له ولا ضد له ولا ند له وأشهد أن نبينا وحبيبنا وعظيمنا وقائدنا وسيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله وحبيبه وصفيه وحبيبه من بعثه الله رحمة للعالمين هاديا ومبشرا ونذيرا بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده فجزاه الله عنا خير ما جزى نبيا من أنبيائه فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللهم ارض عن ساداتنا أبو بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن سائر الصحابة والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد عباد الله فإني أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله العلي القدير القائل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول فإن تولوا فإنما عليه ما حمل وعليكم ما حملتم وأن تطيعوه تهتدوا وما على الرسول إلا البلاغ المبين. وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم وليمكنن لهم دينهم الذي ارتضى لهم وليبدلنهم من بعد خوفهم أمنا يعبدونني لا يشركون بي شيئا ومن كفر بعد ذلك فأولئك هم الفاسقون وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأطيعوا الرسول لعلكم ترحمون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nur, that is chapter 24, verses, and I mentioned verses 54 to 56 because it's a story, a block by itself. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts by obeying Allah and His Messenger, following the Quran, following His Sunnah, and ends in that block or in that story by obeying Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, following His Sunnah to the best of our ability. And in between, there are three promises that Allah promised us if we do so. So say, obey Allah and obey the Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And if you turn away from the Messenger, know that the Messenger will have to answer only for whatever he has been charged with, and you for what you have been charged with. But if you obey him, the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, you will be on the right way, and nothing rests on but clear delivering of the message. Then comes the three promises. Allah has promised those of you who have attained to faith and do righteous good deeds, the first promise of certainty, Allah will make them rulers on earth. We are not right now. And Allah will cause those, as Allah caused those who lived before them to be rulers to it. Second promise, and that of certainty, Allah will firmly establish for them, the believers, the religion which He has been pleased, that's Islam, to bestow on them. And the last promise is as that of a certainty, He will cause their state of fear to be replaced by a sense of security, seeing that they worship Allah, not ascribing divine power to aught beside me, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but all who, after having understood this, choose to deny the truth, it is they who are the transgressors. And then the story ends with, and keep your prayers and the zakah and obey your Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, so that mercy may be shown to you. None of these we are not living any of these promises. We are not seeing any of these happening to us, which means we are not following what Allah ordered us to do, following the Quran and Sunnah Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam to the best of our ability. The scholars, part of when these ayats were revealed, Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said, إن الله زوى لي الأرض فرأيت مشارق الأرض ومغاربها وإن ملك أمتي سيبلغ ما زوي لي منها. Verily, Allah folded earth for me so much that I saw its east and west. The kingdom of my ummah, the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, will reach as far as earth was folded to me, to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But we are not seeing this because we are not fulfilling the conditions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put for us to see these promises and to see this victory. But the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam also explained to us in his Sunnah, and there is a story by one of the companions of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Al-Arbad ibn Sariya, may Allah be pleased with him, reported that one day Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam stood up among us and admonished us so eloquently that it moved our hearts and made tears come from our eyes. It was said, O Messenger of Allah, you have given us a farewell sermon, so enjoin a covenant upon us. So the Prophet ﷺ told them three things, or four things. You must fear Allah. Listen and obey your leaders. And we explained this last time, as long as the leaders are following the Quran and the Sunnah, not the tyrant leaders. Even if an Abyssinian slave is put in charge over you, whoever lives among you will see many disputes, and we live in these disputes. So be aware of newly invented matters, al-bid'ah, innovations, for they are misguidance. And this is what we are living these days. A lot of bid'ah going in the Muslim nations. Whoever sees them must adhere to my tradition, must adhere to Sunnah Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. And the tradition of the upright guided successors. That means the tradition of the companions of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam and the followers of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Bite onto it with your back teeth. This is the importance of some of the importance of Sunnah al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam that I'm trying to emphasize and make you understand it. So last time we established that the Quran has the guidelines, the standards, the policies, the baseline. But the Sunnah al-Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam is the one that gives us the step-by-step procedures in how to implement these directives from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we mentioned some examples on how Sunnah explains the Quran, and before we conclude the subject of the importance of Sunnah today, inshallah, we'll mention a couple of more examples. One of the most misunderstood concepts among the Muslim Ummah, the concept of inheritance. And maybe inshallah one day Sheikh Osman will bring in our monthly halaqah an expert or scholar in explaining this concept very well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nisa chapter 4 verse 7, لِلرِّجَالِ نَصِيبٌ مِمَّا تَرَكَ الْوَالِدَانِ وَالْأَقْرَبُونَ وَلِلنِّسَاءِ نَصِيبٌ مِمَّا تَرَكَ الْوَالِدَانِ وَالْأَقْرَبُونَ مِمَّا قَلَّ مِنْهُ أَوْ كَثُرَ نَصِيبًا مَفْرُوضًا. From what is left by parents and those nearest related, there is a share for men and a share for women. So in rights, they both have shares, men and women. Whether the property be small or large, a determinate share. This ayah was revealed to Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam after Uhud, when the companion of Rasul one of the companions of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Aus ibn Thabit, who is the brother of the poet of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Hassan ibn Thabit, was martyred in the battle of Uhud. And Aus ibn Thabit was well-to-do, and he left a wife and 3 daughters. He does not have any sons, but he has 2 male cousins from the father's side. Now, back in the days before the revelation of inheritance verses in the Quran, or specifically this one, because this one was the first one, the Arabs used to distribute inheritance only to male relatives who've been into war. So if anyone has a son who's a boy, he will not get any share of the inheritance. The inheritance has to be to males who've been into war. And the cousins of Aus ibn Thabit, Suwaid wa Arfaja, were the only males in his relatives that were in war, and Aus does not have any boys that been in war. He only had daughters. So his wife, Kahka, contested this to them, and they said, we'll all, and they were all Muslims, we'll all go and talk to Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam and see what the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam says with regard to this issue. So Rasul said, there is no revelation regarding this, so go, don't do anything until Allah reveals something for me. And then he revealed this ayah that I just read for you, which indicates that women and men get a share of the inheritance. Now came the subject of what's the share, what's the percentage. You ask any Muslim of what's the share in Islam, and this is how they explain it to the non-Muslims, and this is how the haters of Islam or the misinformed non-Muslims say. Why all the times that when someone dies, women get half of what men get? They think this is the only situation we have in Islam where women get half of the share all the times, which is not true. In this particular case, the story that I just mentioned, also they went back to Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, and then the ayats were revealed, and this is the ayah, the same chapter, Nisa, chapter 4, verse 11. But unfortunately, it's a long ayah. Unfortunately, the Muslims take only the beginning of it, and that's all they know about the inheritance. يوصيكم الله في أولادكم للذكر مثل يوصيكم الله في أولادكم للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. Allah thus directs you as regards to your children inheritance, to the male a portion equal to that of two females. And this is not the end of the ayah. There are other parts of the ayah, but the Muslims in general take that and they think this is the situation all the times. Where in actuality, there are only 4 situations where men get more than women, and 30 other situations based on the consensus of all the scholars and all the madhahib, where women get either more or the same, or they get and no men get nothing. In this particular instance that I mentioned, the story of Aus ibn Thabit, the share was the wife, like mentioned in the Quran, 1/8, and each daughter got 22% point something, each one of them, and the cousins, each one 10%, so 10 point something. So in this particular case, the women got more share than the men, and many other situations. So it's not in all situations we need to understand that men get more share of the women. It's actually more situation where women get more or equal, or they get and the men get nothing. So this is one concept that needs to be understood. Another and this is extrapolate, and this is, by the way, according to the consensus, like I mentioned, of the scholars. Another misunderstood concept is the concept of witnesses for women. So the longest ayah in the Quran is verse 282 in Surah Al-Baqarah, and this ayah talks about monetary transactions, and part of this ayah talks about وَاسْتَشْهِدُوا شَهِدَيْنِ مِنْ رِجَالِكُمْ فَإِنْ لَمْ يَكُونَا رَجُلَيْنِ فَرَجُلٌ وَامْرَأَتَانِ مِمَّا تَرْضَوْنَ مِنَ الشُّهَدَاءِ أَنْ تَضِلَّ إِحْدَاهُمَا فَتُذَكِّرَ إِحْدَاهُمَا الْأُخْرَى. And get 2 witnesses out of your own men, and if there are not 2 men, then a man and 2 women, such as you choose for witnesses, so that if one of them errs or make mistakes, the other can remind her. So the layman Muslims, they took that as a general rule in all the times where the witnessing of a woman is always, double. You have to have 2 women equivalent to 1 man, which is not true. This is only back in those days. And this is only talking about this verse talks about a particular situation where it's talking about money transaction, sales and buying stuff, or money grantor, or financial rights. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, and his opinion is taken today by the consensus of our scholars. He said, he justified the wisdom of making the testimony of two women, and I'm going to read what he's saying, of two women equal of that of one man in financial issues by arguing that women in those days did not usually deal with these types of financial transactions in their social context. Today, in our today society, a lot of our CFO at homes, chief financial officers at home, are our wives. Okay? So how is it you're going to have the testimony of two women equal to one man? If they are the ones, they know what's in and what's out regarding finances. Then Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah continues. Then her testimony would be regarded as equivalent to that of men. He said, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, there is no doubt that the purpose of pluralities in experience with finance, however, if a woman acquires such experience, and back in those days, the only woman that had, the rare woman that had this experience, our mother, al-Mu'mineen Sayyida Khadija, because she was owning her own business, so she was experienced in finances. If a woman acquires such experience and her truthfulness is recognized, then the evidence, al-bayina, can be proven by her testimony and it's accepted in religious issue. Therefore, her sole testimony is accepted in certain situations. And that opinion of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah is the opinion taken by the consensus of our scholars today. The bottom line, the importance of Sunnah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Surah Al-Imran chapter 3 verse 164, لَقَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذْ بَعَثَ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَإِنْ كَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلُ لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Certainly Allah conferred a benefit upon the believers when He raised among them a messenger from among themselves, reciting to them Allah's communication, that's the Quran, and purifying them and teaching them the book and the wisdom, although before that they were surely in manifest error. Here we want to talk about specifically teaching the believers the book and the wisdom. The book is the Quran and the wisdom is the tradition or Sunnah Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam. There is no argument among all our scholars that the Sunnah is the one that explains the Quran. To try to separate the two from each other, this is an act of ignorance. Well, Imam al-Shafi'i, may Allah have mercy on him, has said, I don't know of anyone among the companions or the followers, the tabi'een, who narrated a report from the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam without accepting it, adhering to it and affirming that this was Sunnah. Those who came after the followers, after the tabi'een, and those whom we met did likewise. They all accepted the reports of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam and took it as Sunnah. So whoever deviates, Imam Shafi'i is saying, whoever deviated from this path would be regarded by us, by Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, as having deviated from the way of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the scholars who followed them, and would be considered as one of ignorant. So we need to understand this importance of Sunnah, that we cannot separate it from the Quran, and we cannot just follow a Sunnah just on worship and rituals. Islam is way much bigger than that. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Ask Allah for forgiveness. He is the most forgiving, most merciful. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ولي الصالحين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So the problem with our Muslim Ummah today, you will find a lot of especially scholars of the Sultans. I'll speak about them in a minute a little bit. They try to specify and lead the Ummah that Islam is only worship and rituals, and make people want to do. What happens when you do that? What happens when you do that is if you ask for something else besides worship and rituals, you go and get it from where? Instead of from Quran and Sunnah, you go and get it from your culture. And hence we'll never be united. And hence we'll break this ayah that is here in the member. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold into the robe of Allah. You cannot hold into the robe of Allah if the only thing you're going to take from the Quran and the Sunnah is the worship and the rituals. We got to take it as a whole collectively. So this whole Ummah, unfortunately, with all its groups and sects, regardless of the numbers, it's been divided into 5 categories. These categories are all different groups and sects. The first category, and I don't know the percentage of each one of them, but obviously we are not to the degree where we are qualified to be victorious, because that's why we are where we are today. The first group is the group who are trying their best to be on the path of the truth, and I explained before many times, the path of the truth to the believers is not subjective. To the others, it might be subjective. To the non-believers or to the ones who are weak in faith, maybe it's in the eye of the beholder. For us, those who are in category 1, the path of the truth is one, and we know Allah is the truth, and we know the Quran and the Sunnah is the truth, and this is not to be controversial to us. But others, they think of it as being subjective. The problem with this category, with the people who are in category 1, whether they are a lot or not, they lack strategy, they lack leadership, they lack unity, they lack vision. And that's why they are not strong. And others, even though we are people of the middle, others, especially the haters of Islam, look at us as being invisible, as if we don't exist. That's category 1. Category 2, who are considered moderates. They are the innovators, they are the fabricators, they are the mystical and mythical and speculative theologists who deviated from the Sunnah, and yet they claim it's Sunnah because they use weak hadith or fabricated hadith. These are the ones, unfortunately, they are the shrine worshippers, the grave worshippers, the leaders worshippers, the ones that follow their shuyukh blindly. And Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam taught us not to follow anyone blindly. That we need to use our brain and we need to know when to emulate. Unfortunately, this is a huge number in this ummah, in this category, regardless of the sect. And the haters of Islam look at this group as being the ones who are moderates. The third category are the categories that deny the Sunnah, period. They say it doesn't exist. And if it exists, it's fake. Or it's wrong. It's made up. They only want to follow the Quran. These are the ignorant ones. Category 4 are the extremist, radical, liberals and seculars. They are the ones that try their best to put in our mind and heart doubts in Islam, doubts in our own Quran, doubts in our own Sunnah. They are the ones that in the Muslim countries get to be put as cultural ministers or educational ministers to poison our intellects and to poison our hearts. And the fifth category we talked about many times are the loudest one and the most violent ones. These are the Khawarij terrorist category. And they are the least one. For sure, I know they are the least one. They don't represent 0.0003% of the Muslims, yet they hijacked Islam and they made us look bad. And because of that, we always are defensive. We need to be stopped to be defensive, and we need to stand up and join the non-Muslims who are defending us, join them to defend us, to defend ourselves, to explain who we are. And one of the things that's happening this Sunday is a rally in the Christian Church, Central Christian Church at 2 p.m. this coming Sunday at 71 West Street, where it's a rally for the Muslims, administered by the church, and the Danbury Masjid. We're gonna go there and we're gonna have pamphlets to explain to the community, Muslims or non-Muslims, who we are. So we need as many people as possible to join us over, and this is explained in our website and Twitter accounts and everything. And if you have any question, you can ask me or Sheikh Osman, inshallah. And at the end, I will remind myself and me and you with the two words that Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam emphasized on us, which is Subhanallah, bihamdi, Subhanallah al-Azim, to say it 100 times a day. It's light on the tongue, heavy in the scale. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to send prayers to Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when he said in the Quran, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين ربنا أعنا ولا تعن علينا وانصرنا ولا تنصر علينا وامكر لنا ولا تمكر علينا واهدنا ويسر الهدى إلينا وانصرنا على من بغى علينا اللهم زدنا ولا تنقصنا وأكرمنا ولا تهنا وأعطنا ولا تحرمنا وآثرنا ولا تؤثر علينا وأرضنا وارض عنا اللهم إنا نسألك إيمانا ويقينا ليس كفر بعده ورحمة ننال بها شرف كرامتك في الدنيا والآخرة سبحان ربنا رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة